Hey guys, welcome back to the matrices and determinants lecture that we were continuing. So before getting into the matrices and determinants, I just wanted to take some time for you guys to understand the background, some history, some interesting stuff, and kind of the real intuition on how matrices and determinants kind of evolved from the very basic concepts of their notation and how they are extensively used in a lot of facets of today's modern mathematics and computer science and pretty much all the fields of major engineering streams where they become like a big concept. So let's understand that, let's break it down, let's run it from the top so that it gives kind of a sense of a deep understanding. And not only that, you'll be able to appreciate when you learn the mathematical part of that from an exam point of view, okay? And this is not going to be a big video, but I think I'll try to make it an interesting video for you guys, okay? So before we get into matrices and determinants, completely cutting that off, let's get back to some of the basic concepts that we have been learning all along in the high school mathematics, right? That is something called as a linear system of equations, or let's try to understand the linear system of equations, okay? So the meaning of this is very evident and very literal in terms of what they mean. Like you have got these three words or three or four words: linear system and equations, right? So let's break it down and let's try to understand each of them, and let's try to connect the dots on how this is related to the matrices, and then we can do a deep dive on the matrices topic itself, right? So let's take linear equation. What does it mean? What are the words linear equations kind of imply? So it's very literal in sense, right? The way it is, whatever the dictionary meaning of that, that's what it is. So linear equations are equations where the outcome of something changes linearly in a linear fashion or in a direct proportional fashion to the change in the input, right? For example, if I have to plot a graph, or if you take an equation, let's take these three equations, like say y is equal to 2x minus 3, or say y is equal to minus 3x plus 2, which is kind of plotted here. The blue line is y is 2x minus 3, and the red line is y is equal to minus 3x plus 2. Or even kind of a circumference equation where we say circumference of a circle is equal to 2 pi r, right? That's kind of the plot. So if you plot any of these equations, on the right side, if you see, I plotted the equation for the circumference of a circle in terms of their radius. On the left side, I plotted these two equations in blue and green line. So if you take this and if you plot it geometrically, right, what it means is, for every change of value in x, or whenever x changes to a particular value, y will proportionately increase or decrease. So that is a direct correlation in the change of the input variable, which is y, and the output variable, which is x, in both these equations. Similarly over here, if the radius changes, the circumference will change. If you see, we have plotted it here for ease of understanding, right? So I'm taking the radius from 7 units to 14 in multiples of 7 all the way through 42. And if you apply the formula, let's say if I apply the simple formula here, c is equal to 2 pi r, and this is going to be a constant, right? So for every value of r which is over here, the circumference is going to change, which is over here, right? Over here, if the value of r is 7, circumference is going to be 44. If the value of r is 14, circumference is going to be 88, kind of a thing, right? And if I simply plot this as an x and y, where your circumference is equal to your y on the y-axis, and your radius is going to be on the x-axis, right? Like I shown here. So if you plot that, where I put the numbers in the parentheses, the first one is the x coordinate, which is the radius, and the second one is the y coordinate, which is circumference, which is calculated out of this formula. If you see here, there's a very straight line, and that's what is called as a linear equation. It's a very proportional straight line. Even over here, for every change of value in either the red line or the blue line, don't try to think about these lines in tandem or together, but assume that each one is an independent line, whether it's a red line or a blue line. Any change in the value of x will have a direct proportional change in value of y, right? and that's what it means, right? If x increases, y increases, and vice versa. So that's called as a linear equation, right? Now let's jump into, in contrast, what is a non-linear equation or a non-linear, right? It's very simple. The graph would not be a straight line, or the change in input may not be directly proportional in the same quantum as in the change in the output. And some of the examples are like, in the earlier case, we took the circumference of a circle. Over here, I am taking the area of the circle, and the very fact that a is equal to pi r square, this is the graph here, right? A is equal to pi r square, which I am plotting here. A is equal to, oh sorry, hold on, let me rub it. I made it a pi. Okay, so what I meant is a is equal to pi r square. So this square, this power kind of makes it more non-linear. But if I were to plot a graph, unlike the circumference, which is a straight line, for the circle, the same equation which ties the radius in the area will be more of a curvature or more of an exponential, right? So it's not linear. So the area will disproportionately change to the change in the value of the radius. And similarly, if you take this cube root of 3, right? So you can say cube root of 3, or you can just say cube root of x. It doesn't matter whether you put 3 or any other number, for example. And if you plot that graph, so for example, if y is equal to 1, y is equal to 2, y is equal to 3, or you plot that graph, this is how you get for any cube root of x, right? The change of x will have a graph in this way, where the y and the x coordinates do not change in a linear or a straight line fashion. So these are like the examples of non-linear. So basically we kind of understand what is a linear equation. Now let's understand what is the meaning of the system of equations, right? Let's just understand that. So scrolling down, let's go back to the high school, right? Normally we are used to solving a linear equation. What is the linear equation? That we already understood. And for the most of it, matrices are going to be confined to the linear part of the equation and not non-linear. So you can forget what is a non-linear, this part, for the rest of this chapter on matrices and determinants for the time being, right? So let's focus on the linear part. So let's understand what is the system of the equation means. What does it even mean, right? So typically, let's say if I give you an equation where 2x is equal to 2x minus 3 is equal to 0, okay? I give you this equation, and then you need to solve that. So we know that this is one equation and there's one unknown. So we can solve it because the unknown is just going to have one value. And the way we have been taught in the high school is move this to the right hand side. So we say 2x is equal to 3, and then x is equal to 3 by 2, x is equal to 1.5. So if I have to plot the graph on this one, this is the point over here. The value of x is 1.5, right? This is the point. So that's the value of x. So we have one equation and we wanted to find the value of x, and which is 1.5. This is cool. Simple, straight, no brainer. But then when we have two equations, that's where the word system comes in place, where we have more than one equation. Okay, there is an interplay of two or more equations, and we need to find the values of the unknowns. So in this case, there was one equation, one unknown. In this case, we have got two equations and two unknowns. And we know from the basic elementary school maths that the number of unknowns should match the number of equations. Over here, it's one unknown and one equation, right? It's matching, so we can find it out. Over here, there are two unknowns and two equations. Again, it's matching, and hence we can find it out, right? But when the two or more equations come together, it creates a system of linear equations, right? It's a system. It's a collective thing. That's the word system kind of means. And it's the same example I'm taking it here, which I took in the first example, the same graph here, which I kind of showed you over here, right? In case of the linear equations. Only thing is, here I asked you to, just for the sake of understanding of linearity, I asked you to just understand just that one equation or one line, either blue or red. But over here, we are going to talk about both the equations taken together, because we are talking about a system of linear equations. And since we can solve, because we know that we have got two unknowns and two equations, we do on the algebraic side, we solve it using the simultaneous equations, where we kind of add and subtract this and find the values which we have been taught in the elementary school. And the value will be x is equal to +1 and y is equal to -1. That's the value. On the geometric side, if you plot it, what does it basically mean, right? So you're plotting the first equation for different sets of y and x, which is a linear equation, if you see here, right? and you're plotting the red line also. Sorry, this one is the blue line, and you're plotting the red line also for different values of x and y, and we know that both are linear and both are intersecting at this point, right? The point of intersection is called as a solution of this linear system of equations. And what does it mean? That means that this part, solution, this is the only point, or this set of points are the only solution to this equation, meaning that these two lines, red and green, intersect at only one and one point, which is a solution point, which algebraically we have derived using this simultaneous equations where the values are plus and 1 minus 1 respectively. But if you're seeing from a geometric standpoint, let's say if you're not going to solve this part and you're just going to plot it, and someone asks you what is the solution, they're trying to ask you what is the solution from a geometric standpoint of view, then what you do is first you will check if both the lines are intersecting. If the answer is yes, you'll pick up the point where are they intersecting and how many points. In this case, they are intersecting at only one point and there is only one solution, and this particular point is nothing but it has x coordinate of plus 1 and y coordinate of minus 1, which is what you saw here. And if you substitute back it in the equation, it will satisfy this equation. So either you can go via the algebraic way and determine the solution, which is the values, or you can go the geometric way and determine the solution, which in case means what are the point or points where the two lines or the system of linear equations, in this case two lines, are kind of intersecting. That's what it means. And similarly, when we extrapolate to in the three-dimensional area where we have got three equations and three unknowns, again this form a system of linear equations because it's more than one equation. In this case it was 2, over here it's 3, and again if you solve it in a simultaneous fashion, you'll get these values: x is equal to 2, y is equal to minus 1, and z is equal to 1. And if you think about from a geometric standpoint of view, which I've written, then you have this each equation, which is a three-dimensional equation, represents a color, right? The green, the blue, and the red. And the point where they intersect, that is nothing but the solution of this geometrical equations or geometrical representation. So from a geometrical standpoint, like I said, wherever the planes or the lines intersect at one or more points based on what kind of equations they are, in both these cases it's just one unique point that is called a solution, which is nothing but the same answer that you get solving algebraically. So pretty much that's kind of the background. Most of you guys will know, but I just want to make it fresh before I get into matrices, where I spoke about the linearity of equations or linear system of equations, what is non-linear, give you an example of one equation, one unknown, and two unknowns, and two equation and three equation, three unknowns in a 3D, and kind of give you a sense of what it means, right? And what happened in this ancient days, right, which will be the next video where we'll talk about the origin of matrices and determinants, right? But I'll just give you a teaser over here. The same stuff that we're talking about, where I directly wrote the equations, but let's say if you did not have the equations and if you had some word problems, and if you have to write down those word problems into these equations, this is how it would have looked like. And these are real-time examples. What I mean is, these were the actual examples that was used as a precursor to the birth of matrices and determinant. These are not just random examples. The exact, if you go to the maths history, you will exact find these word problems, right? The first one is from Babylonian literature on that was inscribed on a clay tablet, right? And obviously everything has the origin to do with the agriculture, because everyone was an agrarian at some point in time, and that's how it started, because they had to measure the land, they had to do the land planning and everything, from the Babylonians to the Egyptian pyramids to the Indus civilization, everyone, or even the Chinese kind of a civilization, everything started from agriculture. And hence both these examples, where the first one is a Babylonian example and the other one is Chinese, if you see the word problems, it is a reflection of an agricultural problem, right? So if you see here, let me just read it out for the sake of it. There are two fields whose area is 1800 square yards, right? So in today's world, it's easy for us to imagine that because we have been used to solve problems. But in those days, this was originating. So they would have assumed that, okay, let's call one field as the x and one field as the y, the area. So the first statement, if you see, there are two fields whose area is 1800 square yards. That is kind of represented by this equation, x plus y is equal to 1800. And then what it's saying is one field produces grain at the rate of 2/3 of a bushel, which is a unit of measurement back those days, per square yard, and the other one produces at the rate of half of a bushel per square yard. And they have put that in this equation, right? And the total yield is 1100. That's what they are giving. So we have got two equations and two unknowns, and what they're asking is what is the size of the field, right? So basically we have computed these two equations based on the word problem, and we have to just apply this logic either graphically or algebraically to get the answer to x and y. And the answer to x and y is x is 1200 square yards in dimensions and y is 600 square yards in length or dimension. That's kind of the answer, right? That's how it came in, right? So we saw how we are applying a linear system of equations from a word problem, notating it in a specific way as a way of system of linear equations, solving it simultaneously to get the answer, right? Similarly, this is the example of three equations and three unknowns, again from the Chinese literature, which was kind of a precursor on how the matrices and the determinants kind of came into existence, or the notations of those came into existence. And we can cover this more in the next video, but it's kind of the same format where it's an agrarian problem, and there are three equations and three unknowns, and they are computing these equations in this format. So you can imagine in this three-dimensional world how it will look like, and they're trying to figure out a solution for that, right? That's how it means, right? So just remember this when we jump into the next video. I'll still refresh it, so that way you remember that where we are coming from and how does this particular word problems in specific tie out to the origin or the earlier notations of matrices and determinants, okay? And last but not the least, since we're talking about solutions of the equations from a geometric standpoint, which I said where the system of linear equations or lines or planes intersect, right? That's called as a solution. So since a lot of not every problem might have a solution, from a geometric standpoint of view, I thought I'll just put what does it mean to talk about a solution. For example, let's take a two-dimensional view when we talk about finding a solution for a system of linear equations from a geometric standpoint of view. For example, if you have two lines like we had in the earlier example, and if both the lines intersect in one and only one point, then we say that system of linear equations have a solution, and they just have one unique solution, right? And I give you example of this. They just have one solution. But let's say for some reason the system of linear equation that we were given are parallel lines, right? They never intersect. Whatever might happen, they might grow in size and length in that respective directions, but they might never intersect. So that means these two lines or this system of linear equations is never going to have a common point, and hence never a solution because they are never going to intersect. So in this case, although there is a system of linear equations, this system does not have a solution because they are parallel lines, or they do not intersect at a common point at all, right? That's one. And the third example is, let's say the lines are identical. For example, let's take, although you're just seeing one line here, but let's come here. Let's say 2x minus y is equal to 3 is equal to 1, sorry. This is the first equation, right? And if I multiply this equation by 3, I'll get this equation, equation 2. But if I try to plot them apart, it will just overlay one over the other, because basically it's mean the same, because I've just scaled this equation by 3. Doesn't mean that this line is not going to be separated out like this or like this. It's going to overlay. So in that case, we're talking about the same lines pretty much. Only thing is multiplied by 3. In that case, you can take as many points as you want for any value of x and y. You can take any value, random value of x and y. Both these equations will be true because they are nothing but a reflection of each other, or they are one and the same. They are just overlaid. In this case, you're going to have more than one solution, because these two set of equations will be true for all values of x and y, and hence it has got infinite solutions, right? So that's what it means. And the same thing over here in terms of a three-dimensional plane where we have xyz plane, right? You will see I'm just taking this because a lot of matrices and determinants will have 3 dimensions. and I'm just trying to plot it, right? If you see here, the first one is the one solution, which is this one, where in the 3 dimension they're meeting at only one point, which we saw above over here, right? The same equation. And the second equation are parallel lines over here, where there is no solution, right? Which is this plane. All the three planes in the 3D world are parallel and hence no solutions. And last but not the least, we have an overlapping line, which is the reflection of each other. We are going to have more than one solution. Pretty much all values of x and y will satisfy that. And hence it has got infinite solutions, right? This is mapping to this in the 3-dimensional world. So that's kind of the context I wanted to set, and you will see in the next video or videos why this was important and why we should start the matrices and determinants from this point as a precursor to understanding those concepts in detail, as opposed to just starting directly from what is matrices without any context, right? So pretty much that's all I had in this short video. And as a closing comment, what you should remember is finding a way to solve the system of linear equations is what gave birth to the matrices, determinants, and then further down the whole linear algebra and all other practical applications that we will be discussing in the further videos. So just keep in that mind, the concept of linear equations or solving linear equations is kind of the bedrock of linear algebra. Okay, more in the next video. Thank you guys.